What's up, everyone? I'm David Cherry. I'm a coach and advisor to early stage remote companies. And today I want to talk about how to get the client you're working with to value your services, to value the rates that you charge. Now, this is a tough subject for so many people. They feel like they've got the skill, they feel like they've got experience, but for some reason the client just doesn't really understand what it is that you're doing for them. They don't understand all the work that goes in. Maybe you're freelancing or you're a consultant, and you really have this service and solution that you want to provide, but you just can't seem to get on the same page as the client when it comes to rates. Now, this is something that also leads to all different types of thinking, and shame around, is my business really working? Do people really value what I do? It can really expand out there quickly in terms of what it does to your mental health if you feel like you're just not able to connect with the client, and if you're just not able to charge what it is that you feel like your rates should be worth. So I want to give you a few ideas to think about and contextualize this when you're selling your services to ease some of those anxieties and help you really in any type of sales conversation that you might be in. So the first thing to understand is that you don't want to have a client make a value judgment on the services you're providing based on what their gut feel is for what something should cost, right? So if I was to say to you, my service is renting zebras for kids' birthday parties, when the client is thinking about how much they might pay for such a service, the client has no information into what it really takes to pull off this service. They don't know all the costs associated with keeping and maintaining zebras. They don't know about the transportation costs. They don't know about the vet bills. They don't know about any of that information. And so if your client is going to make a gut judgment based on how much they think something should cost, already you're losing the sale. Already you're losing the value that you provide. So in, scenario number one, that person might be saying, well, I think it's worth this to the client, or I think that they would buy it for X price, therefore I'm going to charge this much. And that is going to immediately put you off on the wrong foot. What you want to do, instead of having your client make a gut decision, is help frame why your prices are the way they are. And this isn't about going to explanation mode. It's not about going into, hey, here's all the vet bills. You have no idea that I had to deal with this last week. Instead, it's about helping set the context such that your client can understand the value that you're providing. So how do you do that? How do you set the appropriate context? How do you get a client to understand what value you're providing them with? Well, in the business case, if it's not zebras, it's much easier to have a conversation with the business owner or the buyer about what your product or service is going to do for them. So instead of saying, hey, I'm going to help you clean up your newsletter and I'm going to start sending out newsletters to your audience, instead, you can start to ask questions and dig at, what does the newsletter do for your business? And that type of question will help reveal, oh, it's about selling. Oh, it's about nurturing leads. Oh, it's about gaining awareness for people who might buy your product. What does an average customer life cycle look like? And now you're starting to understand a little bit more about the business. And what you can start to do is couple together the idea of your service helping them with some important aspect of their business. So that's really the idea I want to help communicate today, is that you want to pair or couple what your service does with the need that your client is feeling. So let's do the business case first, and then we'll do the personal case. So in the business case, it's not that you're just an email marketing professional. It's that you're somebody who drives new sales, new signups, new leads to the business. And those signups, those leads, those sales, there's dollar amounts attached to that. That might be $10,000 worth of new leads that you generate over the course of 3 months of working together. And so if I'm pitching my services and I'm trying to communicate my value, I'm trying to pair or couple what it is that I do with the value that I can provide the business and the value that they understand and think about. So if you can understand what a client values, that's really the key. You can then understand how to reference what your business does around that. Now, this isn't about a manipulation. It's not about twisting the client's arm. That's not what my channel is about. It's about helping you communicate better in the language of your client. So rather than going into that sales conversation or the conversation about price and simply saying, oh, I'll do your email. Oh, I'll write 3 blog posts for you per week. and letting them just make a gut reaction of how much do they think they should pay for that. Well, maybe $200 a blog post, or who knows. Instead, have an educated discussion with the business owner to discuss, what does this service provide your business? What areas of your businesses are important? Maybe they say new leads, maybe they say retention, and now you get into this discussion that's relevant to how the business owner is thinking about what they need to have happen and what your service will provide. And given that you're helping provide a service that benefits a business, it's much easier to have a discussion about value or prices that are justified as it relates to the impact you provide the business. So what about when your service is a little bit fuzzier? What about when your service isn't as close to the bottom line, or it doesn't feel as close to the bottom line? Let me give you 2 more examples. Let's say you're designing a logo for a business. Okay, maybe there's not an immediate business case where you see customers flowing in because of this new logo. Maybe the company's very early. Well, you can talk about duration. How important is it that you have a logo that looks good on packaging and boxes? How many products do you think you're going to launch over the life cycle of this company? How long do you want this logo to last? You want it to be permanent. You want it to be like Nike. And you can start having discussions that help contextualize the importance. It's not just a design that you do today. It's something that's going to last the lifetime of the business. And again, positioning it around that is going to help the buyer, help your customer understand how to contextualize the prices that you're charging. So I just want to hint at it again, make sure you're speaking the language of the buyer and understanding what your customer is really valuing, and ensure that your services actually meet that need and are communicated in a way that shows that you meet that need. Now, what about an even fuzzier example? I do coaching, right? So I do coaching for early stage founders, and that always doesn't feel so connected, right, to the business. It might be more personal. Maybe even someone who's in a therapy space, they might feel like, hey, well, people aren't always making decisions that are solely based on these business demands. I can't just bucket into sales this therapy practice that I have. So let me give you an alternative way of thinking about that as well that's still in line with what we're discussing. And that's this. Let's say that I'm the zebra rental service for kids' birthday parties for whatever reason. That's the idea that I have. And you can start to talk about the emotional aspect that you're going to provide for the client, for the customer. So how important is it that this birthday is exciting for all of your kids' friends? Have you ever done a birthday party that is really over the top, that has really gone super big? Do you go to the zoo often? How much does that typically cost you to go to the zoo? Okay, it's $100, for your family to spend the day at the zoo. Well, think about bringing the zoo to you. I mean, that is quite the service. You don't have to go anywhere and all the animals show up, right? So if you can start bringing in the emotional component of the feeling someone might have, of what they might expect, of other experiences they've had before where they've paid similar amounts, once again, you can help connect what the price is that you're charging with what the person is buying. So hopefully this helps you understand whatever service you're providing. It's really about communicating in a way that your customers understand. And so if you're feeling misjudged by your customer, if you're feeling like you can't get on the same page, if you're feeling like you're not able to share and communicate your value, think about how you're contextualizing your service and if it really makes sense to your ideal customer that you should be charging what you're actually charging. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments. I would love to answer there. I, of course, write about all of these topics at caffeine.blog. I'll be back again next week with another video. Thanks.